we're going to talk about the E-Naira nevertheless. And please listen and learn. My guest is a subject matter expert, finance expert, an investment banker, an asset management expert. What else should I call him? He looks like Father Christmas. He's a producer and presenter of Monday Morning Moves by the Assets and Equity Group on YouTube. So if you're not following Assets and Equity Group, I think you should begin to do that now. And if you don't listen to the Monday Morning Moves, I think you should begin to do that. Springbozz, Abayomi, Michael Osho. How are you? Nice to have you in the studio.
Yeah, I'm great. Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yeah.
On Sunday afternoon, how you suited up as if it's Monday morning? You have a business.
Well, you know, we always like to more or less appear formal for every formal invitation we get.
Okay.
So we've been friends for many years, but the invite, I still don't have to take it for granted. Okay. I have to give you the full honor of how we actually appear for most interviews. So if CNN invites or we appear today, so why should we do less for City FM?
Yeah, making me look like
no, exactly.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, listeners from wherever you're listening from, what is the E-Naira? Were you expecting it, or you couldn't even be bothered anyway? You're doing USSD already, or you have the app of your phone, or you're okay with using your ATM, the card, or you're okay with going to the POS operator. So first of all, what's this E-Naira all about?
Jide, the E-Naira, putting it simple, it's just the same as the Naira, okay? But just the digital form. So it's on a one-on-one level with the Naira. So what you can do, whatever you can do with your Naira, you can do with the E-Naira. Just that this comes in a digital wallet, handled, managed, monitored, and produced, minted, and possibly destroyed if need be by the Central Bank of Nigeria itself. So Central Bank has been the the watchdog of the financial system within Nigeria, and maybe a few other oversight touches within West Africa. But then coming up with E-Naira is what I consider a structural alignment with the new face of money, or the new dimension of money. You know, money from time immemorial has been in two phases, okay? The first phase was the physical money, the money you can touch, the money you can see, you can take, you can spray in parties, you know, being Nigerians. Yeah. Okay, so and that's like from the commodity age. Yeah. I mean, let's even start from the barter age, then to the commodity age, where you have the cowries, or the objects like the cowries rather. Then you have commodities like gold, silver, broken into coins, and you know, some kind of iron stuff, metal works. And then all to the age of the invisible money, which is the money you cannot see. You can only know that you have it, okay? And that is the age of the virtual currencies. Like the digital currency is more or less the umbrella name for all these non-physical or invisible currencies. So as it stands, it's more or less like CBN, that is the Central Bank of Nigeria, aligning with the wave of things, or the move, or more or less the changing environment or the changing nature of money. And if we now continue to look at it, like, okay, you mentioned USSD, electronic banking, the mobile banking app, and all of that you mentioned earlier, and then you're like, okay, why do we need the E-Naira? What essence would that be? But then, like I said, there are certain things that, or let me say, there are certain needs of the market that may not be easily met by profit-oriented organizations. It's really hard, because when we talk about the question of when we start talking about financial inclusions, for instance, we're talking about people who are not properly banked. Either you are underbanked or not banked at all. Yeah. So if you want to saddle that responsibility on banks who are merely competing for gains, trying to ensure that they satisfy stakeholders or not at all levels. You might want to, it might be difficult for companies like that, or banks or financial institutions like that, to put up their resources together and go all the way to the remotest of villages to set up branches, because it won't be profitable for them, and they are not in the business of making friends anyway. So so they're in the business of making money. So I believe the central bank coming up with the digital currency is more of a step in the right direction if it is targeted towards financial inclusion, as I expect as a professional.
All right, so you heard it. Banks are not in the business of making friends, in the business of making money.
Absolutely.
Shareholders' funds that is used and to get return on their investment. So if you think that banks are your friend or bankers are your friends, nah, they're friends to your money. So this is about your video shop. All right, so this currency, E-Naira, in other countries, in which other countries does it currently operate?
Okay, the E-Naira currently is in most of the Caribbean countries right now. The Bahamas, the St. Kitts and Nevis, the Barbuda, most of these Caribbean countries, though they are not much in population, but then they are leading the pack. And as a matter of fact, the company, that is the consulting company that is building the Nigerian E-Naira, is actually from one of these Caribbean countries too. So it's called the Beat Inc., or say the Beat Incorporated. But they are saying that the central bank is saying that this company is going to more or less be registered in Nigeria and have some and give some stake to the Nigerian federal government, or say the federal government of Nigeria, so that most of our data collected in the process of onboarding customers or user adoptions and all of that are not just exposed to total strangers, total foreigners. So I believe...
Yeah, but whatever happens to local content? You don't think that the Nigerian companies that can do it, that could have managed the process, why take it all the way to the Caribbean countries?
Well, Jide, that comment,
I mean, I think that because there's a national, there is actually the National Office of Technology Acquisition, NOTAC.
Yeah.
And one of the things that it exists is for Nigerian companies.
There's actually a fintech institute in Nigeria, headed by a very senior colleague of mine, Adeba Jomo.
Okay.
Yes. So it's like a virtual mentor to me. So I believe there are capable hands, there are, brilliant minds, brilliant brains that can actually, do this thing. But then the CBN, headed by the CBN governor, has the responsibility to make that decision. And of course, why do I want to question the CBN governor for making a decision? All right.
Okay, now the countries that you cited as having e-currencies, in terms of population, they are nothing compared to Nigeria. Do you think that these are the kind of countries we should be modeling after?
Well, I think it might really not be a conversation about modeling after a country or not. I think it's a question of need. Does Nigeria need E-Naira? I think absolutely yes, we do. Especially as we pursue financial inclusion, like I said earlier, about 70% or about 80% of Nigerians are unbanked or underbanked. Okay. So looking at that high figure, you would definitely just want to believe that there is a need that must be met. And the E-Naira is not a bad decision around that. Okay. But the challenge I have is if the E-Naira does not come out to play the role for which it was adopted in the first place. Yeah. Because it will be a total waste of time, a total waste of resources, taxpayers' funds. This is not private business. Yeah. So it has to function, and it has to it just must not be like the Nigerian Air story. Yeah.
All right. Will the E-Naira, in your estimation, will the E-Naira affect the value of Naira?
No.
no.
That's a straight no.
Okay.
Because the E-Naira is just the digital form of Naira. So people shouldn't expect magic from E-Naira. The only thing that promises such, that has such nature, are the other decentralized currencies like the cryptocurrencies, the Bitcoin, and the rest of it. Okay, the E-Naira is not a decentralized currency, it's a controlled currency. Okay, it's tied directly to the Naira. It is controlled by the Central Bank of Nigeria. So the price cannot go up or go down. It's perfectly in sync with the Naira, the normal Naira we have. So that the CBN will wake up one day and totally want to decentralize the E-Naira, I don't see that happening, because that would entirely, defeat the purpose in the first place. So if people like this audience, this person, this listener just mentioned, I believe he's worried about asset depreciation, more or less maintaining his wealth preservation. He doesn't want to have 10 million naira, which will be worth about $20,000 in January, and then by December it's worth like $15,000. So I think that's his concern. So I believe there are other ways, there are other approaches he can take, that can adopt to maintain, to preserve his.
So I want to believe that the E-Naira, if other countries, for instance, the Republic of Ghana, they are coming up with their own ECB. Okay, if the Francophone countries also come together and come up with the E-CFA, okay, and all these African countries continue to come up with their own digital, that's the central bank digital currencies, at some point, it's all going to be a matter of integrating APIs. That is the more or less something the technology people call the handshake that softwares can have with each other to more or less work together. So if the Nigerian API starts working with the Ghanaian API, it means if I have an account, if I have an e-wallet, like an E-Naira wallet, it will be easier for me to trade with someone, to trade with a Ghanaian or with a Cameroonian or with a Beninois or with a Togolese who also has their own digital currencies. So once it is integrated and we agreed on an exchange rate, we wouldn't need to use dollar as the base currency for African or for intra-African transactions. So I think that's one economic value that it brings in. The structure that the CBN has come up with will not make it look like competition with banks as it's playing out the way I see it. Okay, it's more or less going to be what we call cooperative competition. Okay, that is, we can all come together and play this game and all win. Okay, so that is the game that CBN is trying to play with all players within the financial market. That's why they are saying, okay, the CBN is just going to stand at the regulatory point, producing and distributing and monitoring the E-Naira, the wallet system. However, the banks, the financial institutions will be in between, managing the day-to-day transactions. Okay, so just like you have your bank today, you don't even need to go to the bank to do a transaction. So far you have their mobile app with you. So the same way, if you go to the bank and the bank tells you, okay, move some funds into e-wallet, that means you already have funds in your e-wallet from wherever you are. Without even a smartphone, I believe using the USSD code, you should be able to do transaction on that. So it's really not a competition.
But looking at it from the economic angle, I believe that one of the most significant advantage or benefit this brings in to the financial system is cost of transaction reduction. Okay, so I want to believe if you want to do a transfer from your local bank to any other bank, you'll be charged certain amount of money, and it's usually within the range of 50 to 100 naira per transaction, regardless of how much you are transferring. But then if you now have a system that allows you to do same transfer at zero cost, I believe that that makes a reasonable economic sense to users. And in the sense or in the line of whether it is possible to get credit, that is loans, through the E-Naira, I think that is already obtainable in the marketplace. You know, there are so many financial institutions that are already offering such services online that you don't have to even go to their office. You know, you don't have to visit. I don't want to mention names. We are on radio. So the thing is, there are so many companies, there are so many financial institutions out there that already does loan services and all. But then for the E-Naira, I believe by the time the intermediation role of banks and other financial institutions, as the CBN has already stated, by the time they kickstart the role of the intermediaries within that value chain, I honestly believe that it will also improve access to loans and financial services.
You see, CBN being the producer and the manager and the controller of E-Naira, whatever E-Naira anybody owns sits directly with the central bank. So if you have if you have one E-Naira, for example, it emanates directly from the central bank. What that means is you become a customer, a direct customer to the central bank, and the banks will only be intermediating between you as a customer and then the central bank, which is the producer. So I believe in between there will be some kind of a commission system or remuneration structure that the CBN will now have with the bank.
All right, Lagos and beyond, I'm afraid that's the much we can take. It's been the Sunday afternoon dialogue with Jide Benson. My guest has been Mr. Abayomi Michael Osho, the Group Managing Director of Assets and Equity Group, and the presenter and producer of Monday Morning Moves.